Hi there guys, welcome to the stream. I'm going to do something a little different. As I said in previous videos, previous streams, I love to do this sort of streaming setup to you guys and get to communicate a bit more one-on-one or in a group, I should say. And I put out yesterday on Twitter a question to you guys with the hashtag CPFC. Go obviously into my channel if you want to see my Twitter if you don't have it already. Basically, I put out the question on to ask me any Palace-based question that you like, and I'll cover them in this stream. Got really good response, so I'd like to thank you all for that. Got a lot of Brighton fans commenting, which is to be expected. I just let that slide. Let them have their moment. But Brighton fans aside, I did get a lot of good questions from Palace fans, and this I've got my phone here. I'm basically going to cover some of those questions that you've asked me. Hopefully that I give you an answer that that you want to hear. Yeah, and I just think this would be a good thing to do in the future. Like I said, I got really positive response on this. I got obviously Brighton fans aside, I got a decent amount of questions from Palace fans. So yeah, if you want to be involved in this or haven't now or in the future, obviously comment below. You can put in the chat as well if you want to do a question live, or you can go on Twitter for a future episode, and I can obviously answer it and make sure I'll definitely answer the Twitter ones. Twitter ones that I have here. So let me just go back to the start. There's a lot I'm flicking through. There's a lot of I got a lot of replies to that tweet, which is good to see. It's what I want. Okay, just one moment. Okay. Yeah, so some people starting to come in now, some viewers, which is good to see. Apologies if it starts to buffer slightly, the stream. Just give it a refresh, it should be okay. Fed up with the club, want to up the price of season tickets. 3 wins, club's a joke, says Rai J. I will cover that in a minute, mate. Obviously, if you didn't know, the season ticket prices for renewal for next season have just come out. And the price has gone up. Okay, let me just scroll back to the start. Where are we? Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Twitter ones first because, of course, they put in the they responded to the Twitter channel yesterday, and I think it's only fair. You know, they've responded a day in advance. So I'll try and get through these, and then I'll answer some ones on the stream if you like. Start with Frozzy, and he's Twitter name at TheGamerTech1. He's asked right or wrong for the season ticket prices to go up, and I've got this quite a few times. So season ticket prices, if you didn't know, have gone up slightly. I believe it's just not a huge amount, but it has gone up from last season. And my thoughts on that: it was poor timing, obviously, for the Brighton to bring it out over the Brighton game, and with the incredibly poor run of results we've had this season. I think it's been our worst home form in the Premier League since we got promoted. Only 3 wins at home all season. Shocking, actually, really, just shocking. And they brought out straight after the Brighton defeat about renewing season tickets. So poor timing. I remember it was poor timing a few seasons ago when Allardyce was in charge. I think they announced renewing season ticket, the price for next season tickets, just after we lost 4-0 to Sunderland at home. So I think the club have had a bit of a mare in recent years in terms of releasing ticket price, ticket information for next season, the next season, the following season. With this season, the announcement, I look at it 2 ways. From Steve Parish's point of view and the club, this is, what are we now, 2013... This is going to be our next season will be 7th season in the Prem, if I'm right, or 8th. 2013 was our first year, 13-14. 13-14, 14-15, 15-16, 16-17, 17-18, 18-19. So yeah, next year will be our 7th consecutive season in the Prem. Obviously a record streak for Palace. And we are, despite how it feels, we are going through the best period in the club's history in terms of consistency in the top division. Now, when you put it that way, I think the club have a right, after that amount of time in the Prem, to look at season ticket prices and to up them slightly, because the value of the club, the revenue, it's all grown over the years because of how our consistent finishes in the Premier League, staying in the Premier League more importantly. So in that business sense, I can understand the increase in ticket prices, and yes, it's poor timing, but I can understand in that sense. From a fan's point of view, absolutely, I understand, and I personally think that if anything, some ticket price should be going down. Our home form has been diabolical over recent years. Fortress Sellers is a complete myth. Palace fans know this, but fans from other clubs and in the media especially, I don't think quite understand this. Yeah, we're not very good at home. Basically, we've always been a good away side, and the way we play with quick wingers, counter-attacking football, we're always set up for the counter-attack, and that's what we always look to do in our games. So when we are at home and we have more of the ball, as we saw against Brighton, we struggle to really know what to do with it, and that's poor for a team that's been in the Prem. Like I said, will be in the Prem for 7 years, because I do think we will stay up. But yeah, so from that sense, it's a weird one for me. I don't think they should have upped the price. I think they should have waited until next season, or at least time it better. If you're going to announce that the ticket prices will go up next season, announce it at a time when we're on like an unbeaten run at home or something, not after a loss to Brighton. I think that has magnified the situation a lot more. So yeah, good question there. I did get a few people asking me that question, so I hope that covers my thoughts on that. Will on Twitter to ask me, Hodgson in or out? And again, this is a question I got from a few people, Hodgson in or out. Personally, I think Roy's got probably one more full season left in him. I think at top level, Premier League level football. He is now officially the oldest manager in Premier League history, surpassed Sir Bobby Robson's record last week. So, and that's an incredible achievement at this level of football, to still be managing a Premier League team and doing a good job, in my opinion. It's got to be rewarded and noticed. In terms of Palace's future with him, I don't think he'll be here longer. I think at the end of this season, there'll be thoughts or discussions over his future. I don't think there will be any doubt in my mind that he'll be with us longer than the following season, the end of the following season. Like I said, if he stays, it will be for one more season. But in my honest opinion, Hodgson in or out, I'd keep him in, but I'm on the border now. Not because he's doing a bad job necessarily, but because I think it's another, we want consistency, and I don't think we're going to get, in terms of manager, like how long we have a manager. I think we want a bit more consistency, have a few seasons under a manager, and we have had that with Roy, and it's been good in a sense, but I think he's taken us as far as we can go necessarily. If he wins the FA Cup, he gets the job hands down, and the FA Cup is a big factor in this, Hodgson in or out, I think. But in terms of how far he's taken us, I think he's tactical. He has a great little run of form, and he makes great tactical decisions at times, good subs. But then he can all of a sudden slump back into, for example, against Brighton, a great example. All of a sudden he got out off of that run of making really late subs and not changing things early, which has been a criticism of Roy earlier in the season, definitely. And now against Brighton, he waited until 15 minutes to go to bring on Max Meyer. When we got back to 1-1, it was clearly evident bringing Meyer on was the best route to go. So, you know, he's a frustrating manager because he's got the knowledge. There's not many managers in the world, I'd say, who has as much knowledge as Roy Hodgson, and the amount of information he can pass down to younger players, for example. And he fits the mould perfectly for a Palace manager, being a local boy at Palace. Is he the future of the club? Does he have the ability to take us to the next level? Again, it depends if he wins the FA Cup, I think, or gets us to the final. Something that not many managers have done. I personally think, though, that I'd be interested to see who would be available. Instead of saying Hodgson in or out, for your question, tell me who you'd bring. If it's Hodgson out, who you'd have in. And I think that's a better question to ask. I'm really on the fence at the moment, though. Good question, though. Ollie B's Twitter, why are our tactics so much different at home than away, and why aren't they working? Another good question. Also, guys, be sure to follow these guys up on Twitter as well. They're all Palace fans. It's a great point, and it's a problem we've had for many years. Our home form has been poor, as I mentioned earlier on, and I do think that our tactics, it doesn't matter who we have in charge. I think Allardyce was the best period we had at home, and Pulis. So it's interesting when we set up as an away team at home, we get better results. But then again, when other managers try and do it, like Hodgson, for example, sit back and let teams attack us at home, we don't have anywhere near as much quality or attacking threat on the counter as we do away from home. The reason for that, I don't know. I don't know if it's just ingrained into us. I don't. It's really baffling to me. I don't think it's going to take much. We have the quality of players. That's what's frustrating. We have a very, very talented squad of players. If you run through each position, we've got a squad easily capable of finishing top 10. I'm not saying we are going to finish top 10 by any means, but I think the players individually most of them are top 10 in players. Put them in our team though, and we seem to struggle. I love our away days. Even if we lose on away day, I think most Palace fans will agree the experience of a match day away from home is something Palace fans all love. But at home, it's just become quite, I wouldn't say toxic, but it's not been the Selhurst of old. It's been a good atmosphere of late, as always. We always have a good home atmosphere, but there's been something missing at Selhurst. I'm not saying that's the reason we've been poor at home as a team. I think the reason our atmosphere and the mood around Selhurst hasn't been as vibrant as it has in previous years is because of our poor performances on the pitch. I think we just got to be a lot more clinical. Our performance against Leicester was the most clinical I've seen us in a long time, and we've got to somehow have that finishing, whether it's coaching, whether that needs to be improved, finishing in training, etc. It's just when we have our chances, we have to take them, and we don't do that enough. Brighton was another example. We had all the ball, didn't really test Ryan at all. When we got in attacking areas where we could take shots, they were either blown over the bar or didn't test the keeper. We just weren't clinical enough, and Brighton went up the other end and scored 2 fantastic goals to win them the game, which really should have been a draw at least. We shouldn't have lost the game against Brighton. We were poor, but so were Brighton, and yeah, our home form has just been shocking. I don't know really what we do there. Good question, though. Jordan CPFC on Twitter says, if we'd sell PVA in the summer, who would you replace him with and why? And this is a good question. PVA had his worst performance I've seen in a long time against Brighton. I don't think that's something that is out there for me to say. I think it was there for all to see. He gave the ball away so much. Zaha had to cover him a lot of times. When he bombed forwards, I had to come back and cover him at times and get him out of trouble. I don't know what it is. It's been since the turn of New Year, I think, since Christmas, New Year period, you've seen his performances dip, and he's significantly in games of late. And I honestly think it's because of the lack of competition in that area. He knows he's going to start week in, week out. Schlupp's been playing centre mid, and he's been playing well there of late. So Roy clearly doesn't really see him as a left back or a left wing back to challenge Van Arnold in that position. So I can definitely see him just his performance is dropping because of that. Now I think we should definitely sign someone, but I also feel that have a look in the academy as well. You know, there's got to be someone in the academy who, like Wan-Bissaka last year, can come through and at least in training challenge him for a spot or be on the bench. Let him know that your position isn't guaranteed, because that has been his problem, in my opinion. Don't think we should necessarily sell him in the summer. As Jordan suggests. I know some people would. I think that he is a good player. There are better options out there for sure. Whether we'd be able to buy any of them right now, I saw Chilwell's name being thrown about. No way he comes to Palace. He goes to bigger and better things. I'd look at someone in the academy to take over. If not, give me some suggestions, because off the top of my head, there's not many. I think Van Arnold is a rarity as someone who can... well, not really a rarity. There's a lot of wing-back, full-backs who can bomb forward and do what Van Arnold does, but I don't think that there's many we can buy from other clubs in and around us of the same quality, in my honest opinion. I'll take a break from Twitter. I'll go over to some of the chat because I haven't noticed it. Thank you guys so much. There's a few of you in here, and I really like that you've all got into this. Homestyle Fanatic, you going Watford away? Yes, I will be. There's a lot of Watford questions. I will be getting onto Watford because that is the next question I was going to cover on Twitter, and a lot of you guys have mentioned that here. Red Bucket, do you think the new stand will get built? Red Bucket on the chat below. Yes, I do think it will get built. I saw an article today actually on it saying that despite rumours of the board looking to sell the club, our American owners, the American shareholders looking to, Harrison Blitzer, looking to sell their shares, which, you know, would I be against that right now? Probably not. I haven't really seen much of their involvement in the club, to be honest. There's been quite quiet on that front. I would, and apparently, despite that potential of them going, the stand still is going to get built, according to this article I read. I definitely think it will get built, but I feel like it's going to take a while. I think it'll be a good 3 or 4 seasons before we see it finished, you know. It will get built though, I think for sure. I don't think they're going to go this far to then not, unless planning permission screws them, I don't think they'll go this far to not do it. Let me just scroll to some more recent messages in the chat. Jaro's the first call. Tyreek Mitchell as well from the academy says Phil Speed. Jaro, exactly. Like, there is a quality player. You're looking at Ajax's team right now, for example, Frankie de Jong. He's just been signed by Barcelona. You're looking at the quality in that side that have come through. Tadic, who's been performing well, the Ajax way, and you know, obviously it was a different era when Riederwald was there, but he's come through that Ajax system, that quality academy at Ajax, the youth system there, and he can't even get a look in at Palace. Roy just doesn't like him. He definitely, I think, is going to go in the summer unless there's a change in management. I think he's been really harshly treated, and I think in many games he deserves to start in the squad. I think he's got that much ability and that much quality, but Roy clearly doesn't rate him, and I think that the ship sailed really on Riederwald. Unfortunately, I would love to see him in the team. Joseph Boyle mentions a good point. Kelly or Dan to start. Sorry, I saw you mention that earlier in the chat. I'll cover that now. Kelly or Dan to start. Personally, I think Dan and Tompkins should start. I think that when Kelly plays in as cover, he plays a lot better when it's Kelly and Sacco rather than Kelly and Tompkins. Obviously, you can debate that in the chat. You can let me know your thoughts. But I think that when Kelly comes in as cover in previous performances, he's played so well alongside Sacco. It's looked really solid. When he's come in with Tompkins, I don't think it's been as solid. I don't know whether that's just a clash of two players who play in a similar way, or, you know, I don't know what it is. But when Sacco is out, I prefer Scott Dan to come in, and I think that his composure on the ball is something that is a rarity in centre-backs nowadays, especially at our level, to have a ball-playing centre-back. And I think he's closest to what Sacco can offer. He was poor. The whole team were poor against Brighton, don't get me wrong, but Dan has the ability that Kelly doesn't on the ball. So personally, I'd rather have Dan start, but I love Martin Kelly. I think he's been class. He's been a great servant to the club. I have no problems with him starting at centre-back whatsoever. Personally, I just think the combination with Tompkins, I'd rather have Dan than Kelly. That's my thoughts. Can we dream big for Europa League in the next decade, says Team Galaxy Wings in the chat. In the next decade, maybe. It's so hard to break into the top 6, top 7 nowadays. It's become a little easier in recent years when you look at Burnley and this season with Wolves, what they've done. But I don't think we will. I think it will. Palace will be typical Palace. There's a top 10 finish, absolutely, in the next decade. But Europa League, unless we win the FA Cup, I can't see it happening. Red Bucket. Let's move on to the big one. One of the main reasons I did this stream as well. Beat Watford, then Brighton in the semi-final. Stay in the Prem equals an epic season. Absolutely. You know, if we get Brighton in the next round of the FA Cup, I'm saying this obviously with the vision that we do beat Watford. But that is the next question I wanted to cover. Everton are shite on Twitter. It's a great name. Tweeted me saying, "Are you worried about Zaha/Van Aanholt leaving this summer?" Zaha, I'm not worried about leaving. If he does leave, I think it's his time. As long as we get the right price, I have no worries about him going, because I think that he deserves to. He deserves to be playing at a higher level than Palace, because he is that good. And I think most Palace fans would, you know, be sad to see him go, but would definitely not be against him in any way for choosing to leave Palace if he does this summer and going to a European club, because he deserves to be at that level, because he is at that level. We've been lucky to have him for as long as we have, in my opinion. If so, what would be a good price for them? Keep up the good work, Harvey. Thank you for that comment, mate. Good price for Zaha. I've always said over 50 mil. I think he is worth over 50 million. Comment below, put in the chat, guys, if you agree with me there. Van Aanholt, if we get what we sold for him, because he's turning 30 now, he's coming into the twilight of his career. I think that if we get what we paid for Van Aanholt, we've done well there as well, maybe a bit more, because he's done better than he did at Sunderland, in my opinion. Right, so let's get on to the main talking point. Let's see. Hornet Shane, of course. Hornet Shane is. Thank you very much. If you're watching this, Shane, or if you're going to watch this at a later date, thank you for your tweet to me. Shane is part of WD18, of course, run by Jakey. He's a fan voicer for Watford for 90 Min. I'm the Palace fan voicer, of course, for 90 Min. So we've seen each other quite a lot in recent seasons, covering our games. Lovely guy, Jakey, and all the guys there. They're lovely guys, and Watford obviously having a cracking season, so they're obviously in high spirits. Of course, this weekend I will be there. Managed, quite rare actually, managed to get a ticket, especially because of the allocation being not reduced but kept the same size. It's not been increased. Tactics on Watford's part there. I did manage to get an away ticket, so I will be there for the quarter-final game away at Vicarage Road at the weekend. So if you have any Watford questions, please put it down in the comments. Thoughts about Saturday is the question that Shane has put on Twitter. Obviously, Watford fan. He does a lot of the previews and the fan camps as well. So obviously, it is Watford, and I know we all have differing thoughts on Watford and Watford fans at the moment. But if you are into that sort of thing, the fans' view and all that sort of stuff, then subscribe to WD18, and they do great content. Jakey's a lovely guy, and so is the rest of the team there. Shane and a lot of fans have also mentioned this about my thoughts on Watford. I am more confident of getting a result against Watford than I was going into the Brighton game, if I'm all honest. If I'm honest, I thought that in the Brighton game we'd come out and we would at least draw or get a win because of how poor we were in December. I was pretty horrified to see how poor we were, and that we would do exactly the same lackluster performance we did at the Amex in the home tie against Brighton in the league. So in my opinion, they've got to come back and they've got to make it up to the fans, and I think this is a perfect way. Watford obviously have this vision of a little rivalry with Palace. I don't know why. I think it's purely because Zaha's ripped them up on occasions in big games and they've not liked it, and it has caused a bit of. Every time we play them, there's been tension, let's say, in the last few seasons. Now, we've got history with a classic FA Cup tie 2016 when we beat them in the semi-final. Can we do it again in this time, the quarter-final, to get to Wembley? I think we can. Away from home, I'm more confident of us getting a result. I think there's no need to rest players because it is obviously a week since the Brighton game. I think he'll go full strength. He has to go full strength, Roy. I'm confident. I'm confident we can get something despite the Brighton game. Watford, though, at home have been brilliant. That's the thing. Watford's home form has been superb. They've been obviously having a fantastic season in the league. No doubt about that. And I think their changes against City were telling. They made 7 changes in that game, and I think that was with one eye on the FA Cup. I think they're going for the FA Cup. There's no doubt about it. I think they realised that they're still in with a shout of getting that 7th, that European qualifying spot. But I think their main focus now will be the FA Cup now that they've got this far. And obviously Watford fans, Shane and anyone who's Watford fan can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I think that's how it looks from the outside. So they're going to be up for it. It's going to be a very tough game. But this is the best way to respond from that Brighton performance with a win here, getting us to Wembley. And we can all have a great day out as we did, turning Wembley into a fortress, a Palace fortress. Fingers crossed for that. I'll do a proper preview, guys, in a few days' time, close to the game, focusing on that game specifically. Aaron Wan-Bissaka call up for the end of the Nations League. I've moved over to the chat down below. Team Galaxy wins. I'd love. Apparently, I think it's today or tomorrow. Southgate's announcing his international, the international team for the next set of the friendly games. Wan-Bissaka has to get called up. He's been having an amazing season. He's got to be called up, surely. Even if he doesn't play, he's just to be in the squad. Imagine if we lose to Watford 3 times in one season, Star Lobster. Yeah, I don't want to think about that. Positive thoughts about Watford, please. We'll come to that hurdle when we get there. Stuart Horsfield, were you surprised when Watford made 7 changes against Man City? Well, yeah, as I mentioned there, I think it was just. I think that was purely because you're focusing on the FA Cup and to get to Wembley. In my opinion, I could be wrong there, but I think that why else would you make 7 changes against City? We're a great example of going full strength away to City. You can get a result there if you play the right way. In fact, we're the only team this season to take points away from City at the Etihad. So obviously, we should be players and managers should look at us as an example there. Someone, Palace Ash, conveniently has put on Twitter just now, has tweeted me our record at Vicarage Road since January 2004. Play 13, won 6, drawn 5, lost 2. With our recent good away form, should we have reason for optimism? That's a great tweet. Thank you for that, Palace Ash. I will include those stats in my preview in a few days' time for the game. That record's great. It's a great record away from home at any ground. I think any team would take that record away from home, especially in the Premier League. Most of those games would have been in the Championship, of course, but that is a great record. And this season, I think we should have got something for sure. Joe Ward missed a sitter in the last minute. If you cast your mind back to the start of the season, watch my vlog down below as well, guys. Not down below, sorry. If you go onto my playlists or into the channel, that Watford vlog, you can recap what happened in that and the events that happened by watching that vlog. We lost 2-1 and we should have got a draw out of it, in my opinion. A fluky cross goal was scored. And then we were 1-0 up against Watford at home and we lost 2-1. So it's been very close games against Watford is my point. So I think it'll be close again. Hazard the man, are you vlogging the Watford game? It's up to you guys. I mean, I haven't vlogged any of the FA Cup games so far this season. Reason behind that is I haven't been to a few. I couldn't go to the Grimsby game because I was at family for a late New Year celebration. I was at the Tottenham game, but I was behind the goal in Block E. Unbelievable atmosphere, and obviously I sent out a video on Twitter or just after Townsend scored of the atmosphere there, and it went viral that night. It boomed. So I wasn't vlogging that. I just wanted to take in the atmosphere and just enjoy it. We ended up winning. We then obviously went away from home in the next game. So I haven't been able to vlog any of them. If you want me to vlog from now on, then absolutely, I'm happy to do that. It's up to you guys, to be honest. I'll be happy to do it, and I'm planning on doing it. It's up to you guys, though. If you want it, I will do it. Star Lobster, our Palace, the unluckiest team in the league. I don't think it's the unluckiest. We are where we are because we're sloppy. We dropped so many points that we should have got this season because we're not consistent enough. So I don't think it's unlucky. We have had games where we've thrown points away. Watford is a good example, like I said. I think we should have definitely got points against them this season. Brighton, just gone. Both teams, Brighton were poor, but they were clinical. And if we were playing 20-30% better than we would have got something. So it's been a case of us not taking opportunities, I think. We've been inconsistent. That's the main word I'd use for our season so far, inconsistent. And that's why we are where we are. So I don't think it's unlucky. Rock Sox Palace fans are the most deluded in the league. You've been awful for 3 seasons in a row now. Yeah, I've not debated that. I think we've got a squad good enough to be a top 10 team, but we're not. We're always battling relegation. So it's definitely something, a mentality thing or a way we're being managed. Our approach to games has to probably change. But Rock Sox, because of how because you have low level players. Are you a Brighton fan? Rock Sox, just let me know what team you support so I can just do a comparison just to give you an idea. You look at the players we have. Sacco, youngest. Let's go from the back. Guaita was one of the top 3 performing keepers in the La Liga last year in terms of clean sheets and save percentage. Look at Wan-Bissaka. He's definitely one of the best young right backs in Europe right now. The stats suggest that, no doubt. Mamadou Sakho, youngest ever player to captain France at national level. And obviously Liverpool, loads of Champions League experience. You got Tompkins, he's been probably our most consistent player at the back this season, absolutely solid. Van Aanholt, he's been poor at this stage of the season, but in terms of attacking fullbacks, there's not many attacking fullbacks, left fullbacks, that are better than him. There's obviously Robertson, Chilwell are definitely better than him. You've got a number of others that are in the discussion as well, but he's not a bad player at all. And you look at our defence as a whole, that defence is in the top 6 in terms of clean sheets kept this season. So we are one of the best teams in the league defensively. When you look at that statistic, then look at our midfield. Milivojevic was captain of Olympiacos, Champions League Olympiacos at the time. Chiarte, obviously, not so good at West Ham, I'll give you that, but has been very, very good this season for us. I think very consistent. You look at then Max Meyer, one of the youngest players to get a debut for Germany at international level, one of the golden boys for Germany. He is one of the best young players to come out of the German youth system. Schalke, from a young age, played in the Bundesliga. Again, European experience as well. Zaha, in my opinion, best player outside the top 6, without a doubt. You've got Batshuayi in there. Unbelievable how we got him on loan. Do you want me to reel off any more players? Rock socks. Oh, you're a Watford fan. Okay. Oh, well, in some ways but our players are not bad players. That's my point. I think it's just the way we're being managed and approaching games is poor. Not the players. It's not the players. The players have to take responsibility, of course, on the pitch. But I think in many cases, the way we approach games, and I think it's just a Palace in our DNA as Palace. Throughout the years, we've been poor consistently. I'm not having that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shut you down like that, but I had to just say it how it is. He is subbed to the official Brighton channel. Okay, that makes sense as well. Rock Socks. All right, let's not all bombard Rock Socks. I just wanted to... When he said that we have low-level players, I think that's just absolute gas. Oh, he's Brighton. Okay, that makes much more sense. Player for player, Palace have a better team than Brighton. I know you've done the double over us, and it's been, you've waited a long time to do that. And I'm not going to comment on that at all. I'm letting you have your moment on that. But to say that Brighton's team, man for man, is a better team than Palace's is stupid. I'm sorry, it just is. I love Roy, but you got to think now he's taking us nowhere. Yeah, that was what I said. CPFC Nest at the start of the stream. That was the first question I asked and answered on Twitter, on the Twitter questions. I think that depending on what happens in the FA Cup, in terms of the league, I don't think he can get us much better than he is. A mid-table finish is probably the peak of Hodgson's ability with us. It's coming across. If he wins the FA Cup, though, how can you get rid of him? Or if he gets us into a final, how can you sack him off the back of that? You can't. We are Crystal Palace at the end of the day. We've only been in 2 FA Cup finals. This is the longest period of us being in the top flight in our history. And there's only so much. We've got to be a certain level for us to sack Roy Hodgson, in my opinion. We're not at that level yet. But can he take us any further? That's yet to be answered, I think. Are you hopeful for a Palace win? I think you're regarding that's day 0000000. Are you hopeful for Palace win? I assume you mean Watford. Yes, I'm more hopeful, I think, than the Brighton game because we are away from home. Stuart Horsfield, if you could take 3 Watford players to Palace, who would they be and why? Delafeu, I think, has been class this season, and that injection of pace and just directness he has is brilliant. We have had that much more in recent years with Townsend this season. He's been arguably one of our player of the season. And Zaha, they are direct players, obviously, but Delafeu adds a bit more pace and I think quality as well in terms of finishing. Our wingers, apart from obviously Townsend, who's been brilliant as you saw from the City goal this season, I think he's still top scorer for us as well. Zaha, though, I think in recent months has improved in his finishing, but yeah, I think consistently Delafeu is class. Probably Ben Foster. I've got no problem with Guaita at all. I think he's a good keeper, but I think Ben Foster's a better keeper. So if I had to pick a keeper, it would be him. Another player, if I had to pick, it would be obviously Decore. I think he's been outstanding for Watford, and I know we're very stacked in the midfield department, but he'd get into our team for sure. Is it? All right, let me just clear this up. Archie Burnett says, is it embarrassing filming at games? And I've had a question on Twitter as well. Sam, why do you insist on filming your face throughout the match? Why don't you put the camera down and enjoy it properly? I just want to clear this up once and for all. The vlogs, let me start by saying I totally and utterly 100% understand why certain fans have a problem with me filming myself vlogging Palace games. I totally get it, and I'm not, and because I was at a stage a few years ago before I even started considering vlogging games. I was one of those fans who was always singing, always bouncing and everything, wouldn't have my phone out at all. Obviously, now that I've started the channel, I started it at uni, and it started off as just improving my confidence in front of camera. And the best way to do that, I found, was to go to a place where there were loads of people around me and talk to a camera. Best place to do that was at Selhurst. It's become more of an issue since the channel's grown, to be honest. It wasn't a problem when I started, but I think the Palace fans, our mentality with a lot of fans, we're quite dated with our approach, that sort of thing, in my opinion. And this isn't a criticism at all. I just think the Palace fan base, we're brilliant. Our support shows that, but we're a dying breed of fans. Vlogging and all of that sort of thing is becoming more and more regular. I'm not saying that that is a defense of me doing it or anything like that, but I'm just saying that it's something that I think Palace fans need to adapt to, for sure, because the stick that I've got on certain games, I think, has been unjustified. I just want to say the main reason I vlog at games, stop my waffling, the main reason I vlog at the games are for the fans from all over the world that I've managed to interact with because of this channel, because of 90 Min, who watch games, who can't, at 1 in the morning, who can't watch games because of where they're from. Like, for example, there was a gentleman who I spoke to, who I messaged. He messaged me on Twitter, and someone messaged me on YouTube as well, on the comments. I always get comments from people all over the world who are Palace fans. Someone from Australia, and he said he couldn't find a channel to watch the game, and he thanked me so much for vlogging. It was the Leicester game when we won 4-1 recently. He said, thank you so much, because this is the best, closest I can get to watching it live. This is the best way I can feel as if I'm in the ground watching the game. And I would never have this opportunity from anyone else, because no one else is doing it. And I'm true. I don't think there are any other Palace vloggers, or not many. There are the Palace vloggers, because I've talked to a few of them, but not many who do it as consistently as I do. That's the main reason I do it at the end of the day. That's the main reason I vlog, is for the fans that can't experience a match day, the amazing atmosphere we have at Selhurst. Vlogging is the closest they can get to that, basically. People who are in foreign countries, who are loyal Palace fans for years, who can't watch a game, and the closest they have are my vlogs. Now, I understand people don't like it, and that's fine. And at games, I get a lot of stick. I get people in the background, you know, swearing at me and things like that. I let it go, because I don't retaliate there, because I understand why they don't like it. I do, I really do. But I want people to understand why I do it. It's not about fame. I couldn't give a rat's ass if I get any fame off of this. It obviously helps with my journalism and sports journalism stuff that I do, articles I write, things like that, and getting feedback from fans, and just getting, you know, again, all of this is building confidence in front of camera. I couldn't do any of the stuff, hosting the videos on 90 Min, for example. I wouldn't have been able to have done that maybe 3-4 years ago, but this has all helped me, you know, do those sort of things, and it can help me with opportunities that I might get in the future, being this confident in front of camera now. Those are the reasons I do it. I couldn't care a rat's ass about getting fame off of this. It just so happens that, amazingly, over 1,650 people have subscribed to the channel and enjoy the content, and that's all I care about, is giving a platform for Palace fans who can't go to games, or who do go to games and want to see fellow Palace fans' reaction to games or some fan content, but can't because there's no one on YouTube who does it. It's a gap there. I wanted to give you guys that. Sorry, I rambled on there for a good 5-10 minutes just on vlogging, but that's why I do it, and I hope you can understand my reasons behind it. I just wanted to clear that up, because I get a lot of stick about vlogging, and again, I understand why, but I think a lot of people have that opinion on me because they think I do it for a reason that I'm not, if you get what I mean. I do it for a reason that not many vloggers do, or I should rephrase that. A lot of vloggers do what they do for the fans and for people who can't go to games, in my opinion, and that's definitely why I do it. So thank you for those who understand and support it, and I will continue to do it. because people rely on me from certain countries, and certain fans have told me they rely on my vlogs to see and being part of a Palace match day. So there we go. Talking of atmosphere, I admit Brighton atmosphere isn't the best, but it's good for one of the new builds. The problem with the Amex is the clappers and the fan base. I think they could have done so much better with that ground. It's a nice ground, but then you go inside and you look at it and you think, oh, they've wasted a lot of space. They could have done so much better. What is your opinion on Murray's 100 goal? Oh my God. I had a mix of emotions when he buried that against us. I've got nothing against Glenn personally, but yeah, less said about that, the better, really. 100 goals for Brian. He didn't celebrate, but there you go. Jamie James. Guys, in the comment section in the chat, Jamie James, he is the Everton fan voicer for 90 Min. I'm sure a lot of you guys who watch 90 Min know of him and have seen his vlogs. Obviously, subscribe to his channel. I love his content. I always watch his vlogs. James, you're hilarious, man. I love it. You're very entertaining in your vlogs. He sums it up well here. At the end of the day, we do what we do because we enjoy it. Vlogs mean that people get to see the game from another perspective, not just TV. I understand the views of people that dislike them. Thank you, James. Thank you for highlighting that. Proper atmosphere at Sellers as well. Thank you, James. And at Everton, when you guys do start singing. I'm not going to lie. Last time I was there, it was a pretty poor atmosphere. But then again, it was a poor game. So that does affect the atmosphere. But that is a great point. I do it because we enjoy it, of course. And I get more enjoyment out of seeing other fans and other people enjoying the vlogs rather than me enjoying the vlogs. I'd happily stop and just go into Block B and join the HF or be a part of the incredible support we have and just sing for 90 minutes and not vlog. I'd happily do that right now. And I'd happily vlog right now as well. If I had to, it goes like that. I'd happily do both. I've got nothing against other people who do it. And I don't think I should be judged on my support or my enjoyment of a game. That's the main thing. People say, enjoy the game, put your phone away. Just look at some of my vlogs. Look at my City vlog when we scored. I go to Palace week in, week out, whenever I can, pretty much home and away as much as I possibly can. I've only missed 3 or 4 games this season in the league. Every time we score, it's just a release of emotion, and I'd react exactly the same way if we scored a goal away at the Etihad, off camera as I did on camera. I enjoy watching my team, whether there's a camera there or not. It doesn't affect my enjoyment, so do not worry about me. Right, okay. I love all your YouTube videos. I watch all the time. Don't stop being in the match. I would like to meet you. Cheers, man. I appreciate your support there. I'll go onto Twitter just to see if there's any other points that come up. I'll start wrapping this up soon. I wanted to make it about an hour long, kind of just to cover some questions that you guys had, and I think I've covered most of them. If I didn't answer your questions, it's because I've answered it from another person. Okay. Peter, I love your vlogs and enthusiasm. No worries, Peter. That's what's important. If you guys are enjoying it, I keep doing it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I think that's covered most of the points there. Of course, in a few days' time, I will be doing a proper preview to the Watford game. Biggest game of the season for us now. Got to win that. Got to get to Wembley. Thank you guys so much for watching. Continue this debate down below if you like, or continue it on Twitter, wherever, about the vlogging. I don't care. Or about the questions that I've answered. Who will make the semi-finals other than Palace? I think Brighton will beat Millwall. Either one of those I'd have in the semi-final. City will go through, and who's the other one? United. I think United are going through as well. Thank you guys for watching, man. I love 32 of you in here at the moment. I'm really happy so many of you are coming to enjoy the stream and to ask your questions, and for me to answer them. I'm going to try and do this maybe weekly or at least once a month. So thank you all so much. Keep supporting the channel. As I said, I will probably be vlogging the Watford game and the vlogs. Keep up the support there. Thank you so much for it. I can't thank you enough. The subscribers are going up, and I really, really am grateful for that. So thank you. Yeah, I'll see you guys at a later date. Probably Thursday evening, I'll upload that preview. Maybe Friday. I think that covers everything. Cheers. All right, thank you guys so much for your support. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Let me know your thoughts down below or on Twitter. Share the stream out. And yeah, support the streamer below, whether that's super chat or on or that's just subscribing or sharing the stream, whatever. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next time.